Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Sincerely, hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. Every day seems to get a little bit more crazy and more interesting than the last, so I hope that everyone out there is doing just fine. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a like on every single video. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment to help out my YouTube algorithm overlord. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We are still in the midst, and I assume this is going to continue to be a thing potentially until January. January would then be the potential, no one knows, sorry for screaming, but I gotta say it, potential maybe end of the bull run. And I say that because historically they usually end around the end of December or the beginning of January. So we're hearing a lot of news and have been hearing the echoes over and over and over again of September, October being the great, awesome, cool months for the market because of all the ETF applications that should hopefully be approved by the US SEC. However, it's not really a however, it's more like an and. We're also getting a lot of like tug of war news. There's a lot of my coin's better than yours. This coin's going to outperform, which are usually conversations and narratives that we hear during a bull market. Everyone believes that their coin is better. This coin is going to outperform Bitcoin. And there's such weird like messages because everything ends up outperforming Bitcoin during a bull run. You've noticed the last few weeks, you'll see Bitcoin's up by 1.4%. This random altcoin you've never heard of is up by 111% in a week. The coin you bought is up by 18%. A friend of mine was just showing me his portfolio. Some altcoin he bought was up by 72%, while Bitcoin was up by 12%. And so, yeah, this is how it works. This is why, it's always kind of the general same. But this time is lightly different because big money is big money is actually in play this time. So it's no longer us sitting here speculating like where money might move to. We are seeing explicitly in real time, these companies are buying up huge amounts of Ether. These companies are talking about making a Binance coin reserve. These 9,000 companies are buying up Bitcoin. Like it's very clear in front of our faces exactly what's going on. The tug of war or the flip, if you will, always usually ends up being this idea every bull run that Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin. Like I said, the narrative is a little bit more intense this time just because we have companies who are announcing that they're buying billions, tens of billions of dollars worth of Ether. So the flippening is once again at the forefront of the minds of many within this space. It's not that it can't happen. It's just more of a, I don't think it's gonna happen. It might happen, but okay, we'll see what's going on. Van Eck published their crypto market recap for July. And one section suggested that Ethereum has the potential to outshine Bitcoin as a store of value. Ethereum's value price number would literally, similar to Bitcoin, would have to be in the hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to begin to be stable in price. There are thousands of misconceptions within this space, but one of them that is a constant always is the idea of Bitcoin as a store of value. You know, when you hear Novograts and Mickey with the hat, all these people who are constantly in the news talking about Bitcoin as a store of value, they're talking about it in like the long term. No one here is, I hope, no one here is delusional in thinking that when Bitcoin goes to $1 million per coin, that it's just not going to fluctuate anymore. The price will only continuously go about. No, there will be ups and downs the same exact way that the US dollar, the euro, and the yen also have up and downs as major currencies on this planet. The idea of a store of value has to do with like Bitcoin literally being like $10, $15 million and price movements of like 0.25% over the course of 2 days. That's how you get something that's stable, that can actually store value within it. We've had a couple of more than needs to be companies recently in the last 2 months who are trying to push, and I don't understand, Ethereum does so much. Ethereum is literally the most used chain on the planet. They're the first with ICOs, with STOs. They were the first with NFTs. Like they do so much. But now everyone is trying to like throw something else into a bucket that's literally already full. They're trying to talk of Ethereum as a store of value, how Ethereum will be better digital gold than Bitcoin because of this. And it's like, you don't have to push these narratives. If you just actually worked on the things that you said that you were going to work on before, Ethereum would be just fine. If we had staking, which we do, if we had 100,000 transactions per second, which we don't, the general public wouldn't really care. Anything else that came on top was just an extra cherry. But this idea of Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin, it's going to outvalue Bitcoin, it's going to be a store of value, it's going to be digital gold, it's going to be a world computer, it's going to be like stop. Like it's just a little cringe after a while. According to the report, and I understand being optimistic about a coin, but just work on the other things you were talking about since 2015 as opposed to trying to put a new spin on things. These companies have figured out that Ethereum's price relative to Bitcoin is destructively low. So therefore, they are able to accumulate more Ether far quicker than they would be able to accumulate Bitcoin. If you missed it, we had 3 companies who all had BIT in their name, who announced that they're no longer dealing with Bitcoin. And they're only going to be buying up, using, accumulating, and staking Ether, which is really weird that they were all Bitcoin companies, but I digress. And everyone keeps coming into the news all the time, kind of like heaping praise on top of Ethereum as if we didn't know what it was capable of, and trying to throw this like new perspective. Like, well, you know, if like we keep buying up more Ether, then like, you know, then the price will go high. And then at that point, it's a store of value. And then at that point, people could use it as digital. And it's like, can you just make the world computer? Like, imagine if Bitcoin became like literal digital money. 14, 15, 17 million dollars per coin. You can use fractions of it. The price, you know, moves up and down, but it's very similar to current fiat currencies. XRP, I mean, they've stayed their course. They're working with all the banks to move money around. We start seeing cross-chain XRP Bitcoin transactions, you know, because XRP has more transactions per second. Bitcoin's moving around the world at lightning speed. And then we have Ethereum. It's the new internet. It's the thing that everyone on the planet is using, like they said back in 2015. We have 130,000 transactions per second on the base chain. All the other layer 2s, by golly, those things are doing 1 million transactions per second. We have all the internet. For those of you who don't know, the internet was promised in the early 90s to be like an open, fair, and safe place for everyone, where basically there were, and I lightly air quote, like no restrictions. You were able to see things without having to upload an ID. You were able to, look at the things that you wanted to look at. But of course, that's, whatever. But in 2015, in 16 and 17 and 18, Ethereum was touted as this thing, like this will be the new internet. This will be the new place where like you can share information. You don't have to worry about, I won't say that, but you understand, like, this general kind of things, so that we have actual digital freedom as we move into a world with self-driving cars and robots that can break dance. But Ethereum is like always trying to find itself. Everyone's always giving it like a new, no. I think countries are going to buy Ethereum. No. I think we're going to see it as digital gold. It's like, what the fudge are you talking about? Why does everything have to be everything? Like you can stay in your lane. You don't have to jump around and be a jack of all blockchain trades. It's just like, okay. According to the report published at the beginning of August, while Bitcoin still holds the lead, there are several reasons why Ethereum is closing the gap and may eventually pull ahead. It's not, though, and people don't understand that Bitcoin is the market. If the thing that the world has decided on is the number one coin, you're not understanding that we are still a brand new market. This isn't some kind of a weird thing. If Ethereum becomes the number one coin, it is literally going to cause the market to cave into itself. There is a literal status quo within this market. And whatever, I'm not going to get into that because I know people are going to be like, yeah, I understand XRP. No, like you're really not getting it. Like the narrative has been formed and that's what has to be kept. Because if Bitcoin isn't the thing anymore, it's the same exact thing. If someone hacked Bitcoin and made one extra coin, I'm not talking about they added in an extra 100 million Bitcoin. If they added in one, it erodes all trust in all of crypto. The thing is Bitcoin is the box that opened. Everything else inside of it are all the other altcoins. Bitcoin is the idea for the future. If the idea for the future and the thing that is being adopted around the world collapses, it erodes trust in every other coin. That's something that people are going to have to really wrap their minds up, because that was the same thing years ago. We were having so many discussions years ago, even a lot of times if I was going live on YouTube, people like kept on saying like, no, I'm certain like Bitcoin Cash is going to be number one. And it's like, you're not getting it. You're choosing not to understand that Bitcoin, at least for the next 20 to 30 years, has to be the number one coin. But once again, another topic, another discussion. We're not going to get into it, but okay. Notably, when Van Eck added ETH reserves from companies and exchange-traded products, total institutional holdings apparently reached 8.2 million ETH. This is nearly 7% of Ethereum's circulating supply. It hasn't been that long. These companies are trying to desperately make Ethereum Bitcoin. And we're going to see the shakings up of this by the time we get, I assume sometime at the end of next year. Completely. For those of you who are blissfully unaware, 95% of Bitcoin is already held by very wealthy individuals, like they've just simply been buying for the last 16 years. Ethereum hasn't had that kind of momentum. So this is where these companies are coming from talking about this. I think Ethereum will do just fine. I think Ethereum is going to $26,000 per coin. I think it will eventually have all the transactions. And this article keeps going, by the way, and I'm not going to continue with it because it's just really exhausting to have to like, this happens every bull run. This happens every bull market. There's always flippening discussions. There's always XRP is going to be the number one coin in 7.5 weeks. I heard that Tron's grandmother put in a new protocol and Justin's son bought a banana. So now it's going to every single bull run. But like I said, this one's slightly different because now we have money to back it up. The other really weird part is Bitcoin has even more money to back it up. So No, I don't think Ether is going to become the number one coin. I think Ether is going to outperform Bitcoin mathematically because that's what happens every single bull run. So awesome, cool. I can't believe it. Is not butter. Okay. Let's move on. Also in really cringe news, I thought this was a joke at first, and then I was like, oh no, of course it's not a joke. So I think there's like 5 Satoshi Nakamoto statues around the world. I know there's one in Budapest, like there's like that roundabout thing. The one in Switzerland. I think there was there one in Poland or in Czech Republic? There are places. There are places where they are. So apparently one of them a while ago, oh gosh, stretching. 2 weeks ago, something like that, whatever, I don't know. One of them got stolen and everyone was, up in arms. Oh my gosh, how could they steal Satoshi Sakamoto? I don't understand what's going on. And then apparently it was found in a nearby lake. It had been broken off. Someone threw it into the lake and whatever. I was like, okay, cool. They can put it back together. So apparently now there's like momentum where people are pretending that a statue of a person who probably didn't exist is like the most important thing in the entire world for freedom, as opposed to like Bitcoin itself. And for those of you who didn't understand me saying who might not have existed, it's widely believed that Satoshi is just like an amalgamation of different names thrown together of a group of, I believe, 6 or 7 people called the, oh gosh, what were they called? The cypherpunks. CYPHER punks, who in the 90s created something called DigiCash. They were the group on the planet trying to create some kind of digital money. And wink, some of those people still work on Bitcoin today and work, I believe, at Blockstream. So it's probably them. It's a group of people. It's not just one person. But this idea of like needing a statue to like prove that Bitcoin is something is okay. And then a lot of people went online and they were like, I can't believe it. It's like, well, there's also poverty. Like there's also like, people who need help on like human beings, other people like you who need help, who like, probably would benefit a lot more from all of this energy that people are giving to this broken statue. It says now there are 1,000 reasons, wow, to restore the statue of Satoshi, the Bitcoin creator, which was vandalized in Switzerland. The first ever statue of Nakamoto in the city was removed from his base and thrown into a lake, but subsequently was retrieved from the body of water. How crazy. That's insane. Notably, several industry stakeholders have made a move to ensure the restoration of the statue, one of them being the head of Tether. He set up a petition calling for 1,000 signatures to support the move and restore the iconic symbol. And then, wouldn't you know it, he got his 1,000 signatures. So the world is saved. This was major news, by the way. I can't in any shape or form understate that this was some of the most popular news out there. It sounds like a joke, but I'm not joking. So, yeah, cool. Forget working on, fast, quick, easy money for the world and making Bitcoin something. Let's focus on a statue. Do you remember? I don't know if you saw when the statue was first broken, the amount of people online on Twitter who were like angry. If you find yourself getting angry that a statue that doesn't breathe, by the way, that is a representation of digital code was broken, you might need to go for a walk. You might need to go take a jog. You know how I say sometimes go call a friend, go to a movie. I really mean it. If that's what's important to you in this space, It might be time for a little walk around the block. Have some water, watch a 90s cartoon from Nickelodeon, just do something, because yeah, there were a lot of people who were like, I can't believe it. This is freedom. No. A statue that doesn't talk isn't freedom. You know what could be freedom? Crypto. If people actually worked on it and made it more decentralized and made sure that billions of people around the world had access to this kind of money, to this kind of value, that would really help. But no, my friend, a statue is not it. That's not how freedom works. No. And then subsequently finding it. I mean, okay. Just put it in a museum. It's Switzerland. There's thousands of museums. There's thousands of pretty buildings. Put it into some parliamentary entrance. It'll be just fine. Crypto sometimes can be quite cringe, the things that people actually care about, but I guess that's just the way that the market is. I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope that none of you cared about this statue and cared more about actual rights, like as in like human rights for yourself and others around you, so that, you know, life can be better for everyone. Hope you all have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting on the video, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.